Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. How are you today? Great to see you guys. I've just been out for another walk. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. How are you all today? How are people here? All well? I'm just checking my hair. You know what it's like, lockdown hair. What can I say? How are you? How are things? Let me know in the comments. How are you doing? And where are you all phoning in from today? Let me know. Let me hear. Let me discover you. Let me find out where you're from and see if I know where you've been. So, good morning, all. So, the first thing I want to do today is I want to recap a little bit about where we're going. Now, we're going along, as you know, with this particular training here. Good morning, Kimberly. How are you doing? We're going along with High Performance Habits for Actors, live on nickdunning.com. I love ringing the bell. I don't know why. I just like it. Stephen's in Cambridge. Good morning, Arlene. How lovely to see you. How are you today? Arlene and I had a chat last night. Lovely to see you again. Stephen is in Cambridge. How are things over there? My goodness. And Oxford. What's happening in Oxford? Pulling down all these statues. Why not? Oops. Politics. Good morning. Hey, Emily. How are you doing? Happy Wednesday. It is a happy Wednesday. How are you today? I hope you're well. Emily's, I know, is in London. So we've got London, Cambridge, Dublin. Kimberly, where are you from? Where are you in now? Whereabouts are you? Can't remember. Let me know. So, okay, guys. First off, we're going to recap a little bit of what it was that we were doing before. You remember that what we were talking about was these 4 lists that we were making, and we were dividing. I'll give you a little reminder. Somewhere down here, that's it there, the present compass. So we were looking at where we were going and how we were going to move those directions. So if any of you haven't done this, I do recommend that what you do is you go back and look over video 1. It's very easy to follow, very simple. You start making those lists. Now, those of you who've been looking at this, what did you notice? Did you notice that one of those lists was longer than the other? Oh, I bet you did. But which one was it? Melissa in London, good morning. A bit grey, but excited for the day. Yes, same here. It's exactly what it's like over here. It's a little bit grey, but still a nice old day. And Kimberly is still in Worthing. Of course, you told me that. Is there still that wonderful cinema in Worthing? There was a beautiful cinema along the front with them incredible kind of like red seats and everything. Is that still there? I don't know. I love that place. So which of those lists was the longest? And which was the easiest to create? Do you remember what they were? The ones that you want and don't have, those ones? Eamon, no worries, no worries, no worries at all. No problem at all. Which was the hardest to create? You'll probably notice that one of them was easy. One of them was, yeah, what I want and have. Yeah, exactly. That's the easiest one. Absolutely. That's what's moving you forward. That's what you already have, right? We've already got this. Now we're going to start looking into all these other things that Sean is sweating awfully on a treadmill. Oh, sweating in awfully on a treadmill. Sorry. Sweating in awfully on a treadmill. Okay. Now we're going to concentrate today. We're going to concentrate. That's it, the Dome. Beautifully remembered. Oh, I love that place. Oh, that was so good. We did a kind of like a show at the Worthing Theatre across the road. I used to go there all the time. Beautiful, beautiful cinema. Absolutely stunning. So, guys, sorry, I don't want to get distracted. Now, what we're going to talk about today are 2 main lists that we're going to be looking at. We're talking about our motivation direction. Now, the general way that most people understand this is what we call carrot and a stick. You know, something that moves you, that you want something and something that you move away from. So these are the NLP definitions are towards motivation and away from motivation. Towards motivation is towards exactly the things that you were saying, Stephen, what you want and you have. I have these, right? Okay. That's the positive thing. Yeah, the hardest is what you have and don't want. Exactly. And we'll be coming into all of this. So today we're going to focus on 2 things. We're going to look at the toward motivation, which is what you want and don't have. Okay? What you want and don't have yet. That could be, for example, a new agent. It might be, you know, working on TV more than you are on stage. It might be want more film work than television. It might be you want something more specific than that. You want to be, you know, you want more acting work in a particular TV show like Killing Eve, for example. It might be something very specific like that. Okay, that's exactly the kind. Sorry, my dogs are just giving me. The dogs are trying to get in. They know all about motivation, direction. Show them a bone, whoosh, towards. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's all you need to know. Okay? So something as specific as looking at that, something that you want and don't have, is your towards motivation. That's what you want to begin to focus more and more on. But the ones that you were talking about, Stephen, the hardest ones is what you don't want and you have. Okay? What you don't want and have, which is what we call the away from motivation. Things that you're moving away from. This could be example, you don't want, but you have your current agent. I don't want this agent, but I have this agent. Okay? I don't want unemployment, but I'm unemployed. I have it. Yeah? I don't want, for example, keep doing, crappy little theatre jobs in pubs with no money. I don't want it, but I have it. Okay? That's what we call the away from motivation. So I want you to take those two lists, okay? The first one, the want and don't have, which is your toward motivation, and start to prioritize what it is that you have on those lists. Now I know this work is the kind of like, it's the tough stuff, it's the tricky, it's because it brings up all the resistance in your brain. That's okay. That's what we're moving through. We're going to move through this stuff. So it's okay that you feel that resistance. Allow that. That's exactly where you're supposed to be at this moment in time. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. So when you feel that sort of moving, something like that, that resistance means it's working, guys. It means we're actually moving things through. So take these two lists, prioritize them, 1, 2, and 3, okay? Again, just to recap it so that everybody's clear, those two lists are what you want and don't have. That's the toward list. Then you're going to make a list, 1, 2, and 3. Which is the top goal, the second one, and the third one, right? And the same thing for the don't want and have, which is your away from motivation. Yeah? What are the top 3 things there? So just start doing that. And I'm going to play just a little bit of music just to keep that going underneath it, as you begin to think more and more about this clarity and the clarification that we're looking for. Begin to write these two lists, focus on them, and prioritizing. Prioritizing again what you want and don't have, which is your toward motivation. Want and you don't have a new agent. I want one, but I don't have one. What is it for you? I want and I don't have more work on TV. Prioritize them. 1, 2, 3. Or ABC, however you want to do it. Okay? The second list is the don't want and have. This is the away from. What you're moving away from. You don't want, but you have. I don't want this agent. I don't want this job, but I have to do it to be an actor, right? I don't want to keep doing bad TV. I don't want to keep doing soap, but I want to break out. Whatever it is for you specifically. And again, we're looking at prioritization. So by the end of this little thing, you should have two lists prioritized. The toward list and your away from list. Really, really important. Everyone doing okay? Any questions so far? Anything in there? Exactly, Eamon. Very glad to hear it. Anything you want, pop it in there. Just let me know if you're unclear. This is very important. I want to take you through this really clearly so that you fully understand. This is so important. How are we doing? Are we all okay? Have you got your lists? Are they prioritized? Just let me know in the comments before I move on to the next step. Okay? Do you have your two lists? And And are they prioritized? Nobody's saying anything. I'm going to blow the bicycle horn. Why not? What do you think, guys? You have your 2 lists? Let me know in the comments, then I'll know when to move on, okay? Let me know, do you have your 2 lists now? Don't worry if you've got 10, you've got 10 things down there. Just choose the top 3. That'll do for now. You can always go back over this. No problem. Okay. I'm not actually hearing whether you have your 2 lists. No, I'm going to keep moving. Otherwise you'll fall asleep. Do you have your 2 lists? Okay, I'm going to assume you do. And now I'm going to ask you what I call one of the NLP power questions. And those of you who were here with me when we did the Breakthrough to Success, you have, Eamon has, yes, Emily has, excellent. Melissa, love the music. Have your lists? Yes! Oh, go Melissa, we got this. Good old Emily, well done Eamon. Thank you for letting me know. Superb. Right, so those of you who were with me when we did Breakthrough to Success, you remember all of that? These are the power questions. These are the power questions in the information part, okay? Stephen has a question. Can I move away from uncertainty about you? Yes, of course you can. But you're uncertain about your agent, absolutely. But it's not exactly a ringing recommendation, is it? You're moving away from the idea of the agent. That is definitely an away from motivation. Kimberly says, yes, she's great. Arlene, absolutely. Look at that thumbs up. Yes. Okay, that's where we're at now. We've got these 2 lists. Here's the power question. Good morning, Brian. There we are now. How are you? How is Kerry? All good, I hope. Here comes the power question. Brian, you'll be able to review all this later, don't worry. So you just follow essentially what we've got is 2 lists. You're towards and you're away from motivation, and we prioritize them. That's what we've done, okay? Here's the power question. What single change would make the biggest difference in your life as an actor right now from those lists? Write it in the comments. What single change would make the biggest difference in your life as an actor? It might be changing your morning routine. No worry, I love this. Look at that. Sorry I was late feeding the lambs. I mean, actors, what are they like? I love it. I love it. Okay. No worries, Andrea. You can catch up later. Absolutely. Yeah, you said that. Exactly. You'll catch up later. So no worries. No worries. Essentially, just to remind you, we've got 2 lists. We're prioritizing them towards and away from. Okay? What is the single biggest change that would make the biggest difference in your life as an actor right here, right now? It might be morning routine. It might be starting yoga. It might be changing your agent. It might be moving towards something you've always wanted to do but have never yet done it. It might be a show reel, can't get the footage back. We'll talk about that later. Okay? Okay? That's the thing, the one thing. Okay? Focus on the one thing. Now we're going to move into the second part of this process, which I'm going to call dreads into dreams. And the reason, I'm going to stop the music for a bit, but I'll come back to it maybe a bit later. This is dreads into dreams. So the things that you've got in that second list, the ones that you don't want, are really what you sort of dread and you're moving away from. You don't want them, right? And we're going to turn those dreads into dreams. This is utilizing your own motivation direction in the way that you want to do it best. But a couple of little caveats. One thing which is really important is the main thing is that the mind, the brain, cannot process a negative. If I say to you, do not think of a blue elephant, what do you focus on? What do you see? What's the first thing you see? Blue elephant, right? You cannot not see a blue elephant. Get the picture? The mind cannot process a negative. So, how is this important for actors? Well, it's crucial for many reasons. The dialogue that we use to ourselves, to other people, the creation of goals, everything that we do needs to be framed in a way that is going to create and generate the best results. Would you agree? Give me a hands up. Yes. I'm going to ring the triangle. Okay? Yeah? So, what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about the languaging, you see. Let's say, for example, you have a self-tape coming up, or if you have an audition coming up, the brain may start saying things like, I don't want to fail at this self-tape. I don't want to screw up this audition. I really don't want to mess it up. And the only thing the brain hears is, I do want to fail at this audition. I do want to mess this up. I do want to screw it up. Get the idea? This is why the language part of this is the L in NLP, the languaging is critical because it's all about directing your motivation towards what you want. If you're using, negative kind of like language in that sense, what will happen is you will create exactly that. How many times have you said to yourself, I've done it. You sit outside an audition room and you're thinking, oh, I hope I remember. I don't want to dry. I don't want to fuck up my lines. I don't want to look an idiot with all these people around. I don't want to get this wrong. I don't want to screw up with Nina Gold. I don't want to get this wrong, I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, right? How many times have you done this, right? This is what the brain is telling you. Every single time you're saying this, you're giving yourself instruction. You're telling yourself exactly what you want to do, even though it's what you don't want to do. Changing the language towards what it is that you want, something that you move towards, is very important. And this whole process now is about how we start to create countless. Absolutely, Brian. Me too. Absolutely. We've all done it. Turning the brain to face in a different direction is this entire purpose behind what we're doing here. Okay? When you start to give yourself positive reinforcement, when you give yourself positive suggestions, yep, me all the time, says Arlene. Absolutely. We all do it. It's human nature. It's the way the brain works until we learn to take charge of it and move it around. Okay? So that's what we want to be very careful about. So start thinking about that anytime yourself in terms of what it is that you want to create. When you want to create something, a goal, let's say you want to change your agent, let's say it's that. Start thinking about, I want to get a new agent. I want to get a really good agent. I want to create a really positive relationship with a really positive agent. I want to generate way more work in the film industry. I want to develop a marvelous relationship with my with casting directors. I want to get the idea rather than I don't want to fuck it up with this director or I don't want to mess it up with her. I don't want. As soon as you do that, as soon as you say I don't want to mess it up, the brain only hears I want to mess it up. And the brain is there to serve you. Your unconscious mind is there to serve you because you have a conscious mind and you're unconscious. And your conscious mind is doing all sorts of things like getting everything logical working, but your unconscious drives the boat. The unconscious drives everything. Think about it. You start learning to do something new, like driving a car. You learn up here, the prefrontal cortex, everything that's going on all around here. I don't know what I'm doing. What's this? This thing's called the accelerator. This is the this. This is the that. This is the, turning left. Oh, turning right. I don't know what I'm doing. It's all the conscious part of learning, right? Until you get it. Arlene, this is what we were talking about last night. It's why you're getting better and better and better and better and better and better and better at doing self-tapes. Because it's moving from here, into your unconscious. Okay? When it goes into your unconscious, it becomes a new process This is the processing part. Imagine that. Mastering self-tapes. Mastering self-tapes. Excellent. Stephen's got an answer. Power question. Mastering self-tapes. When you get that, if you could do that one thing, if you really dominate self-taping, if you spend all of your time focused on that one thing of mastering self-tapes, you will master self-tapes. As long as you follow this particular process, and we'll talk about this. Okay, now you have two lists, okay? You have the don't want and the have, which will give you the away from, and you have the don't want, sorry, I always get these, don't want and have, which will give you the away from, and you do, and the and you have the other one, which is the moving towards, okay? You have the towards and away. Okay. Now, the reason you don't want to focus too much on the moving away from side of things, on the negative side of things, is because you can use that to generate things. You can, if you say, I don't want to be poor, okay? A lot of people say, I never want to be poor. I don't want poverty in my life, okay? Because I do not want poverty. What does the brain hear? I want poverty, okay? But you can use that force to actually drive you to, to get as many jobs as you can, to get as much money as you can. You could, you can do all this, you can fight like that, and you get, but the results you may get there, but what it's going to feel like really yuck, because you're not going to experience any any satisfaction, any joy, any enjoyment, any bliss, any peace, any happiness in what you're doing, because you're always working from the motivation of pushing yourself against yourself. Yeah? We've all met people like that. You think, those guys, businessmen, you see them in the pub sitting around, yeah, I made a fortune, absolute fortune. Are you happy? Yeah, really happy. Yeah, it's the only way to be. Ah. You look at them, you kind of go, yeah, not quite sure I'm convinced by that. You know? When you focus on moving towards something, you can experience more joy, more happiness, more flow, more engagement, more creativity, more possibility, more pleasure in what you do. This is why we're turning our dreads into dreams. And this is the final part of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be taking what we don't want and have and turning it into what we don't have and want. Okay, let's say, for example, and you do this with your list, you've got your three, just pick one for now. Stephen, you've already got yours, right? You're going to move away from whatever it was. I don't like doing self-tapes. I don't want to do self-tapes, but I have this problem that I hate doing self-tapes and I don't like it. And move it into what you do want. What you do want is to master self-tapes. And when you think about mastering self-tapes, everyone here can do that, would want that, I'm imagining. Self-tape's so important these days. The biggest thing we all do, right? One self-tape can change your life. And we all know that, right? When you start to master self-tapes, it becomes a lot easier to do. Now the brain is going, oh, I'm going to give you what you want. Okay, so take something that you don't want and have, like, for example, maybe maybe because of lockdown, we're all a little bit out of condition. I know I am. Right? That's why I've been for my walk. I went and walked for 17 years this morning, right? But that kind of thing. Let's say you've got a few pounds that you don't want. Don't want, but I have. Okay, I don't want extra pounds around my tum. What do I want? How do we turn my dread? I dread putting on weight. I dread being overweight. I dread feeling crappy. What do I want? I want to move it into what I want, focused on towards what I want, which is a slimmer, fitter, leaner, healthier body. That's what I want. Okay, to get the idea, moving towards what you want. So you take your dread, turn it into your dream. Dread to dream, dread to dream. Then you're going to be using your motivation direction to work with you, to work for you. And your brain, your unconscious is there, ready, willing, and able to support you and to do exactly what you wish. All you got to do is set the direction. Okay? I'll give you another example. Let's say you don't want and you have a bad agent. Right, I don't want this agent, but I have this agent. Oh, I might as well stick, she doesn't put me up for much, but I got 3 lines in Game of Thrones last year, and I don't want this, but I want to get something else. But yeah, but I don't really want it, but I want to, but I better stay with her because, things are okay. But if you choose to turn that dread into a dream, what would it be? It would be, I want a good agent who's going to open up new possibilities for me and myself and my acting career, which will allow me to be more of who I want to be, to allow me to express myself, to tell my story as an actor, to get out there in the world. Get the idea? Same thing, different focus. Different focus. And what you focus on increases. Okay? I'll give you another example of that in a minute, but just to remind you, where is it now? Yeah, this was those of you who are back, this is the NLP communication model. When something comes in from the outside, like we have an idea, everything that processes goes through our 5 senses. Remember the exercise we did the other day about the senses? Getting in touch with your senses? When you get in touch with your senses and your sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, you calm yourself, you focus yourself, and then you're able to go into the one of these 3 processes: deletion, distortion, or generalization. For those of you who, this is a bit, I haven't covered it too much. What we're aiming to do is to generalize positive experiences. So by using our senses, we want to generalize positive experiences like we're talking about now. And we're going to use these, the filters in here that you can see, the meta programs. The meta programs that we have running, there are many of them, but some of them are these towards and away from motivation. That's one of the meta programs that we have. All human beings have meta programs. All carry towards and away from motivation. When you start looking at it, when you start to discover this stuff, you will see it played out everywhere. It's everywhere. Yeah, you'll notice it, in what's going on in America at the moment. You'll notice it what's going on with Cecil Rhodes. You'll notice it everywhere. There are those who want to move towards, pulling down the statue. Those who want to kind of go, they don't want to lose the history and the tradition. Right? It's played out all the time in the way that people are moving. When we go through these filters, the brain then creates what we call a map, an internal representation of what's going on. And if your map is a positive one, which is what I'm trying to coach you towards, it will influence your state, which means that your mental state will feel better, you'll feel better, you'll have more energy, your physiology will improve, and your behavior and your actions will change. So when you go back out into the world, what will happen is that you'll be coming from this completely different place, moving towards where you want to go. Does that make sense? Any questions? Pop them in there. Okay. So I'll give you another example. Let's say that you're working in, let's say you're working in low-paid acting work, where you're doing everything for free, and you really don't want to do that anymore. But you were getting connections and we're doing all this. What do you want now? You want to move towards something else, like paid work, right? So you want to focus on getting paid work. As soon as you change the thought, the whole direction changes. You see, if your brain is continually, that's making sense to Kimberly. Yes, cool, definitely, good man. Kimberly, yeah, and a thumb, woohoo, right? When your brain gets this idea, instead of confusing the brain, a confused mind never buys, right? The confused mind can't get into it. When you say, okay, let me give you an example of the way it might play out. Let's say you've got this you don't want the low paid work where it's all, and you should never work for free and there's all this complex going on, everything is happening, and some people are telling you this, some people are telling you that. And I'm not making a judgment on this because I've done lots of free stuff, okay, I have. And sometimes I still do, but well, doing it now. Awareness, great thing. Okay, right? You know what I mean? Sometimes you get a lot out of it. So there's nothing wrong with doing free stuff. I love doing this. I absolutely love it. I hope you can feel it. I just really enjoy doing this kind of creation stuff with you guys. And I really love coaching you. I love it. Absolutely love it. For me, it's part of my mission. One of my big goals is to make sure that I do everything I possibly can to end needless suffering for actors on the planet. That's just it. That's it. That gets me going. Okay. I love doing that. And we'll talk about goals on Friday because that's what we're moving in. So start thinking about all of that. But the main point I want to talk about, let's say you've got this, you're losing this thing, right? Let's say you've got this, there's some job that you're doing you don't want to be doing. You really don't want to be doing this low paid stuff. You don't want, but you have it. So what you want to do, turn it into what you do want. When you start to focus on what you do want, you can get a much clearer idea of where you're going. I do want to do paid work. When you say to yourself, and that becomes a commitment, and you make a goal, I'm going to do paid work. Then when someone comes in and says, listen, we've got a really nice short film, it'd be so good for your show reel. No, I'm afraid there's absolutely no money, but it's fantastically good for you. And you can just go, no thanks, I only do paid work. Because you know what you're doing. You're choosing your new reality. That's the way you move up to the next level. Wherever you are in your, I can remember, say, for example, from my own experience, like when I first started out doing TV stuff, I would get like, 5 lines here and 10 lines there and that kind of stuff, right? You get little bits like that. And I made a decision. I'm not going to do small parts anymore. I'm only going for bigger parts. Did that mean that they instantly came in? No. Did it mean that actually, every single job ever since has been a big no? But did it change the way that my direction went? Absolutely. Did it change my commitments? Absolutely. Was it easier for my brain to focus on what it was that I wanted to do? Absolutely. And that's the way you can then start to move and go up a level, as it were. That's what I think what actors mean when they say, I want to go up to the next level. You need to break through your old resistance. Whatever your level is, right? Whatever the level is that you're at. Let's say you're doing more theatre than you want to, and you want to be doing TV. Okay. Most actors, and I've coached a lot of them now, as you know, over 2,000 now, right? They often say to us, I love doing theatre, I really love it, but I would love to do some telly. I really would. I'd really like to do it. And what is it that's holding you back? Well, I'm not sure if I really, I'd like to do it, but I don't really believe that I can actually, to be honest, because I haven't got any experience and I don't know that I can do it. Okay, right. There's the problem coming up. What I'm dreading, or what I don't want, the thing that I don't want is I don't want to be involved in this stuff. I don't want to be putting myself in this place. I don't want the challenge of going somewhere new. But when you open that up, you go, what do I want? What do I really, like the Spice Girls said, what do you tell me what you want, what you really, really want? Write it in here. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Write it down. Write it down. Get the idea? Very important to write this stuff down. As we've talked about many times, it generates a message directly to your unconscious, and it allows you to move all the brush out of the way so you can focus on the clarity and clarification of what you want. Your mind gets clear. You just go, yes, this is what I want. This is what I'm doing. Okay? And everything that your unconscious does behind that supports that. And on Friday, we're going to talk about how we take this energy and move it into goals. So we start moving towards what it is that you want, towards creating all of the stuff you've always wanted. When you start to look at what you really, really want, that's what we're going to cover on Friday. So any questions, anything about what we've done today? Anything? Powerful stuff, huh? This is a bit like, I always think it's like giving somebody the keys to the car. Do you know? These are the keys. And you can choose to drive a Lada or you can choose to drive a Lamborghini. Any questions? Anything anyone not sure about, unclear about? Anything to cover up? Just a reminder, anyone who hasn't seen the first video, do go back and look at that. It'll just give you that overview again of where it was that we were looking at. And if you haven't done so already, is subscribe to the channel and tell your friends and ring the bell. Remember who the bell tells. I've given you a lot to think about. Great. I'm thrilled about that. That's fantastic. I'm really glad that I have, because that's what I want to do. And the idea of focusing on what you want as opposed to what you don't want will make a massive difference. Any questions any of you have, drop me a line, no problem. Somebody wanted me, just by the way, I got an email, and I'm afraid I don't have it near me. I can't remember who it was from. Hey Kieran, how you doing? Nice to see you. How are you? I just wanted to say that I got an email, and I can't remember who it was from, about when we were doing the self-taping, about what I call the legacy effect, which was how whenever you're actually doing your self-tape, how you should label it before you send it up. And I've got this thing here, which will help you. Let me just explain this. This is the legacy effect. This is how you should name your self-tapes, okay? This is, so you do Nick dash Dunning dash, and the character, Hans dash Killing dash Eve dash, and then agent's name, Lou dash Coulson dash date. Okay, that was how you focus on those. Okay, I hope that clears up. Whoever needs to know about that, anyone's got any questions on that, we can cover that next time, no problem. So anything else there that's clear? Kieran's happy, you're happy, Kimberly's happy, Sean is focusing on fitness and focus. Good for you, why not? And Melissa says powerful stuff. And right, help people in both professional and personal. Absolutely. I'm glad you find it valuable, Melissa. I'm really glad. And thank you so much for that wonderful testimonial you gave me the other day. I really appreciate that. It was a wonderful thing. Those of you who haven't seen it, check out Melissa's. It was just wonderful. Really lovely. So, guys, look forward to seeing you all soon. And take care. And remember, Friday, we're going to look at goals. This is where it gets really, really big. And we're going to start to blow stuff up. So bring your friends along. Tell people. It really helps me. And, spread the word. Share these videos. Do all that stuff. It's really important. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers. God bless. Bye now.